Well, first of all, when my cousin introduced us, shout out to Monica.
Shout out to Monica.
First of all, he does not introduce me to people. He's my fam and everything, but he never said, you know what, let me introduce you to a friend. I'm like, hey, first of all, I feel a way about that, we just had church service and now you're trying to, give me the hookup. But he introduced me to Lloyd. And I was kind of stunned by that. And the fact that he was willing to come to my spot, our first date was at the Java House. They used to have a Java House in Louisville that was more like, if you're familiar with Love Jones, the movie, the Love Jones with Nia Long and what was his name?
I don't even know the dude's name.
I can't.
Lorenz
Tate. Yeah, that's him. With Lorenz Tate.
How's gonna be one of your favorite movies? You don't even know the dude's name.
Oh, so that movie, a lot of it surrounded around the club called the Sanctuary. So the Java House was like a sanctuary where people could go and drink coffee. That was way before Starbucks.
Yeah.
People would go and drink coffee there, and then they would have poetry night. And I love to write poetry and looked forward to each weekend where I would have a set and I would read my poetry. So that was the safe place I felt like I could invite a Reverend Minister Lloyd too, that I felt like, okay, he's a preacher and everything, but if he's gonna come to my spot, then he might be all right. And I felt comfortable with Lloyd. Like I could talk to him about anything. Sometimes when you meet people, you feel like, you gotta keep the wall up and, speak, a language per se that, a safe, like I'm gonna just have a safe conversation of just, the simple things. But with Lloyd, I felt like I could really talk to him about anything, and that he was being straight up. I didn't feel any deception or anything when I talked with him. And he didn't get annoyed by my questions because I had lots of questions. Lots of questions. Oh my gosh. So that.
What has been the most surprising thing that has happened in our marriage that you did not expect? The most surprising thing. It can be positive or it can be negative. It can be whatever you want. But the most surprising thing you did not expect. So many things.
So many things that were surprising that I did not expect.
So many things. Y'all don't even know. So many things.
And I have 20 years to reflect on.
I know, right?
I can't say that I didn't expect for us to move from Louisville, Kentucky, because I expected that.
You expect us to leave Louisville?
Yeah, I expected that. Because in my heart of hearts, I knew that whatever man that God had for me was going to take me away from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, we sitting there wearing Louisville gear, and it sounds like you hating on Louisville.
No,
I'm just saying it sounds like you hating on Louisville.
I lived there my whole life.
Right.
But I felt a heavy drawing, like it was going to be getting me out of the area. Okay. And I didn't know where I was going to end up, but, and then, so I can't say the moving part, that was a given.
Okay.
I will say the one thing I know for sure, without question, is that God told you to tell us to leave here and go back to Louisville and start a church.
That episode
did not.
That episode is one you definitely need to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's an episode right there.
Yeah.
We might need to do that one next.
Absolutely. That totally. I'm like, are you sure? Did you heard him clearly? I mean, I don't question you, but
no, but you know what though? I wasn't wrong. I think that was just part of the journey. I think that
was a part of the journey that caught me by.
Well, listen, it caught us all by
surprise. It was totally unexpected. It wasn't nothing that I could say.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe that Lloyd's gonna say no. Didn't see that.
Especially how it turned out.
Right.
That was the part that we didn't expect. Like we thought, okay, God told us to do this, then it's gonna turn out great, and everything's gonna be good. But we didn't see what he was seeing, but we needed it though. When you think about it, we needed that time, but it was hard.
No, we didn't need all the time. There's some time.
Well,
I'm just saying, some of those you can have.
Yeah.
You can have some of that time.
But I go back to my original statement. Everything we've been through has gotten us to this place. So maybe we did need that time. Maybe we were so stubborn that in our thinking at that time that we didn't know, and God had to use that time to deprogram us a little bit. Be like, okay, y'all just gone. I need y'all to get that out your system. And we did. We did.
Oh,
it's out there now for sure. So yeah, it's out. Okay. So that was my question. Okay, that's your question. That was
Football might be over for this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. Hey, it's your man Lloyd Spence, and listen, from all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. Here's what you got to do. Head over to the website or use your mobile devices to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to get started. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds right to the Olympic coverage. It is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. So, it's BetOnline, y'all, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. So go to BetOnline, where the game starts.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I make you move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this move in the back of a can. But to make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world. Welcome to Talkin NOIZ, the daily podcast that brings you up to speed and keeps you informed about real issues affecting real people. With your host, Mr. Talkin NOIZ himself, Lloyd Spence. His beautiful wife, Mrs. NOIZ, Kenyatta Spence. The ever-informed Brother NOIZ, Alan Brown. And yours cordially, Uncle NOIZ, Shake Anderson. Come on in and join us as we reveal and opine today's most pressing issues. Real truth while having real fun. Talkin NOIZ is in your house right now. So sit back and enjoy Talkin NOIZ.
2, 1, ready, come on.
Good times. Good times. Good times. Not getting hassled. Not getting hustled. Keeping your head above water. Making a way when you can.
Every lady on.
Good times. Good times. Good
Y'all thought I forgot what I did.
Hey, we lucky we got on.
I did not bring your
Good
I actually did forget. I was working on like 5 other things and I just forgot. But we're here now though. We're here now. Me and Mama Noise. There she is right there. There I is right here.
Right here.
Yep. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm excited because
No. It's called a tease.
Oh, okay.
Take your time, you lead into it, and then we announce it.
Okay. I'm on backup.
What?
I got backup.
You weren't supposed to say that either.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
You know what? You can't hold water. Let me do this real quick before you spill all the tea. Jeez.
Well, I do have my tea now.
Well, drink that while I do what I need to do over here on my end, okay? Goodness gracious. I just ain't never seen nobody just spill all the tea. Come on, and the tea just gets.
I'm so excited.
Nope.
Just
Nope, just hold on.
Man, you went to the solo screen. It's rough in this house.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord.
Oh my gosh.
We so glad to have you in the house of the noise one more time. It's good to see all the saints of God in the place. We look forward to this service and seeing your smiling faces. Now grab your programs and your tithing envelopes and let's get ready to make some noise. Hallelujah and amen. See how I did that? See how I did that? That's how you do it. You call the worship first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, we have some special guests joining us. You called in backup because you felt like you needed it. I don't know why you felt like you needed it.
I need some backup.
I need some backup. So you called in Laura, Lala, Kim, Patrice, Burrow.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Hi.
One more time.
Yeah, well, glad to be in your service.
Come on, now.
One more time.
Didn't have to let you in.
That's right. Didn't have to let me leave.
Come on.
Glad to be in your service. One more time.
Okay, altos, y'all, come on. Let me do it.
You know about altos.
We'll do it again later. It's so glad to see y'all. Really is.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, it was a testosterone heavy show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And opinions were had. As we talk about a very difficult topic. Are Black women irresponsible? And it stems from a video that we watched on yesterday. And let us go back to that video just because I think we need, for those in the back who might not have made it yesterday, let's bring
As a
that
refresher.
back. Yeah, just as a refresher.
80% of Black males who are in jail come from single mother homes. So don't sit here and preach to me how y'all do such a great job of raising
So
kids.
where's the father?
Listen to what
Where's
you're saying.
the man
Let
in
me
the
explain that.
household?
Okay,
Where
I
did you go?
I can explain that. Let me explain that, please. Here's a simple answer to that. See, I own a house. In that house, if you were my wife, And I kept inviting dudes over, and they kept walking in with dirt on their shoes, and they kept throwing popcorn and shit on the ground and fucking it up. When they left, who would you blame, me or them?
A combination of both, but
No,
specifically
here we go.
Yes. Why? Because
Here we are.
it's my house. See, let me explain something to you. When women have babies, I ain't never seen a man die in the delivery room. Women do, though. So, one, they can decide to end the pregnancy.
That's right.
He can't.
Unilaterally.
Yes, they can't. He can't. The men can't. The women can decide to give a baby up at a gas station, at a
Firehouse,
hospital, at a so they can do all these things. So if women are so damn smart, how come they the only motherfuckers that's constantly getting conned and lied to get in the situation they
By
in? Y'all claim
niggas.
y'all are smart as men, but y'all the only people who say, oh, he told me to do this and he talked me into this. When a man gets screwed over, they say it's your
You
fault.
should have seen it coming.
Should have seen it coming. So why is it we can't say to these women, because let me tell you a stat that should shock you, all of you. Did you know there are 2 times as many black women with children than black men?
Damn.
What does that tell you? Well, I'm going to interpret that for you.
Here we go. Okay.
It tells you that women are fucking the same man.
Boom.
Damn.
So y'all know he ain't shit, and you fuck him because you in competition with that other ain't shit bitch to have that ain't shit nigga baby. Because you just saw a video on Instagram of Future, who you know got 9-11 kids, talking about how hard it is for him on Valentine's Day with all these bitches, and bitches jump right on the video to be there with him. So don't tell me how great women are. Don't tell me how women care about marriage. Don't tell me how women care about society, because if they did, the last thing you do is continue to reproduce with somebody you know has shown he is not a father, but you do it because you want to. Now, I'm Panamanian, so it's a little bit different because we speak a little bit honest. We talk honest about it. I know y'all Americans have been led by so many women that y'all sit there and believe that a lie is the truth. Yeah. And it feels real good to live in ignorance is bliss, and what I don't know can't hurt me. But if I don't know a woman got AIDS, I can catch it. It can't hurt me. If I don't know the brakes don't work in this car before I crank it up and drive it, I can die. So stop living like that, and let me tell you something, young lady. When you wonder why you have a man that is not there, it's simply because you didn't allow that man to be your husband before you allowed that man to knock you up. Is that not a good enough answer, ma'am?
So once again, we you know, that's how we started yesterday's shows, and we had a lot of mixed opinion about whether or not what he said had merit. So in the spirit of fairness and balanced conversation, we offer an alternative perspective, and in the form of another young lady. So we're setting the stage for our wonderful show today. I had to break this up. This is a 30-minute video that we broke up into a couple of key parts. So we'll show you part 1 right now. Uh-oh. She's dragging. Well, maybe we won't show you part 1 right now. Let's see what's going on. We'll try again. Let's see. It's really an interesting video, to say the least. I know there's a lot to unpack from the first one, but I want to, before we dive all the way in to all of it, I think it'd be only right.
And in all fairness, when we saw it yesterday, it was a dead silence as well.
Would take me with him to go and cheat on my mom. And I remember he used to do this for me, it felt like a long time, because I remember going to school and my dad, I remember going to school and going to my teachers and telling them, oh, I have 18 brothers and sisters. And they were like, they thought that was wild, you know? And like somehow I don't know how my parents found out, but somehow they found out.
Oh, of course, the retort is going to show problematic issues today. That's just how it is. Let me see if I can get the main one working properly, because she ended up, okay, and I'll explain the video if it doesn't work, but I'm gonna try to get the main one of the main ones of what she said working properly. Let's see if this is it. Let's go.
That was Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte is a big hub
for human trafficking and sex workers.
Patience, Mama Noise, patience.
Oh, sorry.
We're trying to see. I don't know about me. I'm frozen. You guys see me?
We can see you, but the screen is frozen.
It's frozen. Okay. All right. Well, you don't let me be great. It was good before we thought the Kings. And
I think the first video is enough to unpack till.
It's not. I'm gonna tell you. I don't think I agree, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because, and let me explain this young lady to our audience because it's important. I think for everybody to understand. So I'm gonna have to do something to get my computer working properly. I'm not gonna show the
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
I will break down kind of what is taking place. So the video with the young lady, and I think Al is joining us here as well. The video with the young lady was such that she is a young lady who was grew up with her father, but her father was kind of a horrible human being. He cheated on her mom all the time. Used to take her to the houses of the women he was cheating on her mom with. That kind of left an impression on her about men that led to her being introduced to a young man who was a counselor by trade, but also would kind of, for lack of a better word, pimp girls out to be a masseuse, if you will, that would give special endings to the massage, happy endings to the massage, if everybody's familiar with what that is. Fast forward to him firing her, and she took that into becoming a full-fledged masseuse / sex worker. And she would do sexual favors in her massage parlors in North Carolina. And she was doing these favors, and she was making $600 to $900 a day, $600 to $900 a client. She could make up to $1,200 to $1,800 a day. So it was a really intense part of her life. She did that for 2 years. Now keep in mind, today she's only 23. This went on for like 2 to 3 years. But she ended the 30-minute presentation, and I may put the link up to the young lady up on the Noisemaker page later. But she ended her conversation by saying, or the interviewer asked her, hey, so what's your view of men? And she said 99% of the men that she slept with or did a sexual favor for, they were all married men. So we bring this to the conversation today because yesterday, I won't say that there was a blame toward the women, but there was more, in my opinion, more of a women need to take responsibility for their own actions than maybe was fair. I thought. This is my opinion. I thought. But I felt like we didn't have enough balance in the conversation to have a female's point of view. So that's why Mama Noise said, I'm calling in the cavalry, and the cavalry is here. And so I'm glad the cavalry is here. So now, with full context of everything that is taking place, ladies, feel free to jump in there and give your opinion. So there you go.
I'm still.
I know that's a lot to unpack, but there.
I'm still reeling from that first one.
Right.
And here's my first thought on that. Women are nurturers by nature. That is what God has given us. Just like there's certain things in men that they have. We are different, okay? But when we love hard. And we want to see that person that we love in the best light possible. To our detriment sometimes, that will bring us down and it will hurt our heart. When you totally give your heart to someone, you want to be equally yoked with them. However, when that yoke is broken or it was never there in the first place, it's hard for us to heal from that. And we still want to see the good person. We still want to nurture them. We still want them in our lives, especially if there is a baby involved. And it can be to our detriment, but we also have to learn ourselves enough to love ourselves to stop the madness. Because now you're talking, that gentleman was talking, blaming us. And then you have the young lady who came on and said, I saw my father. What is she being taught? So you see, there's a conundrum here.
And Lord, that was my point yesterday. That seemed to kind of fall to the wayside a little bit because guys were like, yeah, but still, you know, what the women, they got to do better. They got to do better. I'm like, okay, but if this is your example, how do you do better? Like how her dad was literally taking her to the women who he was cheating with, their houses. Fast forward to the first guy she meets post dad, and this guy offers her on the very first day that they meet, he offers her alcohol and drugs and says, perform a sexual favor for this guy walking through the door. So every guy that she meets, then she goes from that to an abusive relationship. She goes from that to kind of being pimped out by, you know, so it's a continual cycle. So you never see what a good dude looks
But our
like.
fathers are our first loves. Whether they're good or bad,
Right.
we accept them for who they are because they are daddy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if that's what her father was showing her, she's thinking, okay, this is how we're going to do it. The cycle has to be broken. It has to be broken. But a lot of, especially Black women, we don't want to go for the therapy. We're always taught that we need to be the strong ones, save the world, you know, and that includes Black men. But we've all got to do better. This ain't just a blame on a woman or a man. If you don't want to do better, you won't do better. If you want to do better, you will do better.
But what about the one that doesn't know how to do better? Because it's interesting you said strong, because she ended the video, and while we're talking, I'm gonna post the link to that video so later on you guys can see it. But she ended the video saying, people think I'm a victim, but I'm not a victim. I got stronger, and I now don't let anybody take advantage of me. Well, no, you didn't get stronger. You just realized how to persevere through dark trauma. That's not getting stronger. That's just that's a coping mechanism.
But he also asked her, would you recommend this recommend this lifestyle for anyone else? And at first she said no, but then she said, but if you've had sexual trauma, like in other words, you'll be able to switch it off and switch it back on. And then I think the other part, you mentioned conundrum, Lala, that she said she got to a place where she didn't have any money. Her father, was like, left her destitute, where you have no daddy to go to, you have no mama to go to, you're old enough. And so she started figuring out, okay, what can I do to make money? But when she came to the mental health counselor, that guy was the guy she was trying to get help from. Wow. And for him to offer her Xanax to get her to relax, and then the Xanax didn't take really. So then he said, you break it up into 3 pieces. So then she took the second piece, and then she got kind of she didn't even know where she was at. He's like, it's to help you to relax, but the relax was only for, she didn't know what he was trying to get her to relax from other than, what was on her mind. Next thing you know, he's like, you need to give these guys a massage and then they'll pay you money for these massages. And she's like, oh, well, I can do a massage. That's no problem. But then after that Xanax kicked in, he's like, oh, by the way, you're going to have to perform some type of sexual favors because that's what's really going to get you the big bucks. And she's like, the big bucks? That's not what I came in here for. However, he said, well, you can go ahead and leave or whatever. She's like, okay, but I need this money.
Right.
Well, that comes later. Yeah, that's why we got to post the whole video because it's hard to put it all in context, but you get the gist of what she was saying. But Patrice, I want to bring you in this conversation for sure. First of all, your initial thoughts of everything, and then we can kind of dive into more specifics. But just your overall thoughts of what you've heard so far.
Okay. I'm over here taking notes because I don't like that guy. I'm with the person in the comments.
That seems to be the consensus.
I do not like him because to me, the first thing he said, it sounds like he doesn't want to take responsibility. That's a problem. For me, that's the big thing. He said, my house. Where's our house?
Okay, and let me break down that too, because that was a very strong sense of confusion yesterday. So the our house thing that he did was not really specifically talking about a house. He was using an analogy, a very poor one, but an analogy of he was comparing if I as a man owned a house and I keep inviting people over to the house and they keep trashing the house, is that my fault or is it the people's who trash the house's fault? And he was saying it's my fault because it's my house. So he was likening that to a woman's vagina. If she keeps letting people into her vagina and they keep producing babies, is that the people who had sex with her's fault or is that her fault? So that was the analogy that he was trying to make. I'm not sure why he threw the wife part in. That part really didn't make any sense to the analogy. But that was what his point was, which I thought was a very poor point.
It was poor because then that goes back to what Lala said.
Yeah.
So.
And what you just said is no accountability.
No accountability. Yeah. Like I'm just, here's the thing for me. This all boils down to I want to make sure I have this right. Black women are irresponsible, or are they irresponsible?
That's the question. Because listening to him, it sounds like black women are irresponsible.
Exactly.
Right.
So now I'm going to ask this: how and it's a lot to unpack.
It is. It really is. That's why we want to take our time and not. Yeah, but
there's a lot of emotion that's going with all of this too. I mean, all of my emotions are all over the board with this.
Yeah. And it's the same reaction that we had yesterday. It really is. It's very. But guys, a lot of the guys felt the same way. No guy walked away liking the guy. Everybody was like, "Oh, he's an asshole." But we at least were trying to figure out what this was.
Right.
So take your time. Feel free to take your time, and we'll walk through it together.
Well, I'm gonna say this: Black women are the most educated women in America. We have the most degrees. We're degreed up, but we're irresponsible. We're the most disrespected. So let's look this. First of all, let me say this. I am happy to be Black. I am proud to be Black. It is an honor to be Black. I love my Black people. That's number one. But, and I shouldn't say but I say that first because I need that to be known before I say this next part. Not only do we have a strike against us as being Black, we also have a strike against us as being Black women. There is such a high standard that is put on Black women that is not put on other women. We're told so many things, and people expect Black women. We have to be perfect, and a lot of times brothers will do this. They expect us to be perfect But they'll go out here, and I'm not saying anything about anybody who's in an interracial relationship. I get that. My husband, he's not black. He's a minority, but he's not black. So I'm going to put that out there before I say this, so it doesn't sound, crazy, but or someone misunderstands what I'm saying. But they'll go out here and they'll get a white woman, and she could be plain as whatever. Let's just be honest. But we have to be perfect. They're looking at everything that's, right down to our toes. We got to have perfect toes. Hair has to always be done. And this is something. So now he's sitting here saying that we are irresponsible in a sense. He doesn't say the words, but what he's saying, everything alludes to him saying that we're irresponsible. But you're putting this pressure on us, unrealistic pressure. And they wonder why. All we're looking for is love. All we're looking for is love. And like Lala said, we take what you give us. We are natural nurturers. You give us a house, we're going to give you a home. Mm-hmm. You give us a seed, we're going to give you offspring. We're going to give you children. And when we think that we're connected to someone, yes, we love hard. And we do everything that we can, most of us, because, it's across the board,
right.
Male or female, but we try to give all that we have. And sometimes it's like we just get pooped on. But you expect us to be a certain way and call us the ones that are irresponsible. And in his statistics, he didn't mention anything about women who have been raped and decide to keep the baby. So who's the irresponsible one? How about we both take responsibility?
Well, isn't the phrase, lay in the streets, freak in the bed? You talk about making your home. You're expecting, you want us to be multi-personality. Okay? You want us to be one way out in the world, but yet you want us to be another way when we get home. What exactly is it that you want? I mean, are we walking hand in hand and whatever? Because hey, we can do that too. But that is not our fault that you expect us to come up to what you want us to be. We all have a purpose from God, period. We all have a purpose. We cannot come to your purpose if you want us to be something that's completely unrealistic. And then you want us to be perfect mothers to our babies. Well, how do you want us to present that to them so that they can move on? Where it brings in the second point of the young lady. Her mother probably knew this. She knew all this was going on. So in her mind, she's like, well, this is how the world is supposed to be. Okay. And then, like you said, when she went to a counselor, that was put her. How this girl is even walking around and even able to have a sensible conversation to share her story with you, I don't know, because that has shattered her whole psyche, and now she's going to have to rebuild.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. The things I walked away from that video. Number one, the level of articulation that this young lady had, despite all that she had gone through, was stunning to me. I mean, it was stunning because I'm saying, man, realistically, you should be a mess. I mean, and in some ways she was. Let's be clear. When you hear her whole story, it's a 30-minute video, so I didn't have time, obviously, to show everything. But there was a moment where she, broke down and cried, and but it was she was a mess. But at the same time, there is a strength that I don't want to call it strength in the same way that you ladies are strong. The three of you are strong, because I don't think it's that. It's more of I've been in this fight long enough to not keep taking this whooping. It's a similar strength to what Angela Bassett displayed in the back of that limo when Ike Turner had kept whooping her ass. And she said, you know what? Okay, I'm done with that now. Now I'm not really strong, but I'm strong enough not to take one more ass whooping. And that's kind of what she had at this point in her life. Because she said, I paid off 2 cars. I have my own place. I've saved up some money. So I've at least gained and gathered enough strength to overcome the circumstances. But she didn't have enough strength yet to overcome the trauma.
Oh, that's going to take years, honey.
That takes years. That takes time.
I just turned 52. I'm still unpacking stuff. Okay. When you can get strong enough and still be walking on broken foundation.
Ooh, man, that was heavy.
Okay.
One more time. I need you to repeat that.
Yes, you can be strong and still be walking on a broken foundation. That means you're still teetering and tottering. And I got this. Oh, I got this baby. I got this man. I got this job. I got this. But you're still falling off the cliff. You're the one who has to get the help to help fall out that foundation. Now, for me, that's spiritual.
Yeah.
Some people may not go that route.
Right.
But mine is spiritual. And when I'm feeling that way, my foundation is unbalanced. I'm calling on God. I have to.
So I want to ask you guys this question because this is an interesting point he asked, and this was part of the conversation yesterday. Are the women in the guys' video, and maybe even in the girls' video as well, are they choosing? And this is, by the way, Kyrie, aka or Ron Nolan, aka Kyrie, aka the Ghetto Chef, is with us. So, are the women choosing? Did that young lady choose the wrong guy? Is it her? Is their merit in that they're choosing the wrong guys?
From the first or the second?
Both.
Okay, the second one, she said, I don't know why she said this, but she said that the people that were working as sex workers were not being trafficked. They weren't being done. It wasn't being done by force. It was something they chose to do, is what she said. But what I saw is all the way back to the beginning where it started with what was going on with her father, dragging her around in all of his extramarital affairs and with those women. You know, he's bringing around his daughter to show her that this is what he does. And her mama is oblivious. Well, I mean, but then I'm thinking about it, you know, Lala may be right. I think her mom was aware that her husband was out doing the most, but I don't know if she knew he was taking her daughter with him.
No, she wasn't aware of that.
And then when they I don't know if they divorced or whatever, or when he just decided to pick up and leave, he took the daughter with him and showed her still that he could just walk away from his mama and pick up with somebody else as if, you know, it was not a big deal.
So do you think they're choosing the wrong women based on what he said, based on what she said?
You said, do I think they're choosing the wrong women?
Right. I mean, the men, wrong men.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I think that, like she said, I think the trauma of watching dad's extramarital affairs and all that different stuff that he exposed her to first. Mm-hmm. Then I think what she said later on in the video, the switch of, okay, daddy dropped me out here in the middle of nowhere with nothing. So now what am I going to do to make this money? I thought I could
had no choice but to choose the wrong.
She got put in circumstances. I can't even wrap my mind around circumstances that says the only way for me to make some money to keep me off the street is to use my body.
The quote, I'm so angry that the videos didn't work because the quote she said, and I thought it was a powerful quote. She said, getting this money, the $600 a day, or a client. Now I don't want to keep saying a day because it was a client. The $600 a client, the $900 a client was the equivalent of having an ATM linked to my pussy. That's the quote. She said, all I had to do was put the card in, the money would fall right out. So that ease of being able to get $1,200 a day or $1,800 in one day made it easier to make that choice. Here's the analogy that I use to lock in the answer to Danny Bell's statement that women are choosing the wrong guy. The answer to that is yes, they are choosing the wrong guy. But if the only place you've seen meat is in your cabinet and that meat is spam, and you don't know that there's a grocery store or a butcher shop outside of your surroundings, you never get to go outside to those places, then you only have the limitations of what you've been exposed to. And I think that's what this is. She has never been around anything other than spam. So she gonna take spam type brothers. Her daddy was a spam brother. The counselor was a spam brother. The massage dude was a spam brother. It's just bad dudes perpetually. So same thing with the guys. You know, the guy saying, y'all just choosing to letting anybody in your vagina. Well, listen, if I start out with spam and they're telling me spam is my ceiling, how do I choose anything but that? I feel like I'm choosing the best because that's what I've been taught. I don't know that steak exists. I don't know that salmon exists. I don't know that all these other things exist. Lobster exists. I don't know that there's a world beyond this thing that I'm being offered all the time. So that makes it hard to choose the right guy.
You know, this kind of goes back to Set It Off. I don't know if you, I mean, I know everybody knows this movie, but when Jada finally falls in love with this guy and he just opens the world to her, she can't believe.
Great example.
That she's like, this is new. I can do this, right? But if you don't have that example, and also the world is telling you what your worth is, your vagina. Come on. Entertainment and everything else tells us that's what we're worth. Even social media and TikTok, you ain't getting no views if you ain't stripping.
That's right.
Okay. Then how do you break that when you don't see? But it has to be presented to you in order for you to even break out of the dirty circle that you're in. If you're offered a glass of dirty water and you're told that this is water, this is what water is supposed to be, you're going to drink it. And you don't know that there's such a thing as a clean glass. So I don't think there is a blame because there's so many different circumstances behind each one. If you don't see the good example, how are you to know that there's something better on the outside? They're dreaming. Okay, well that black lady driving in that Mercedes, that's not me. You see what I'm saying? You have to see yourself in that position or see it where it's touchable for you. And that's where this is broken. This is broken. If she's set up from the beginning with a daddy and a mama and then a counselor, how do we break her out of that?
And I'm not saying that's apples to everybody. I'm not saying that. Because I think there are some young ladies today, especially like Tim was telling us yesterday in 2022, they're just making bad choices. You know, they're just out here doing stuff that's reckless. But I'm speaking specifically for the young lady. You know, it reminds me of the story of the doctor. I mean, I'm sorry, of the sick husband and wife, and the husband broke a window at the pharmacy to get medicine to save his wife's life. And they say, well, is he wrong? And you know, for breaking the window to save his wife's life. Well, what would you do to save a life? So are you willing to break the window? If you have to break the window, that's the only way you survive. In this girl's mind, to live better than poverty, this is the route. This is the easiest, quickest route. And I've already been introduced to it. My self-esteem is in the trash. This is where we are. So I don't know if it's, and I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's reality.
But you make a good point because you said this is the easiest. So I think at the end of the day, yes, a lot of women are choosing the wrong men. It's not their fault that how do I say this? There isn't a blame, but yes, the truth is they're choosing the wrong men. But just because you grew up a place doesn't mean you have to stay there. And it doesn't mean that you have to die where you grew up or where you were raised. And that's the thing. Some people aren't necessarily, I think that in some cases, people are making these poor choices. It's because they don't know any better. But sometimes you got to be the person who desires to seek out the knowledge to be different.
Mm-hmm.
When in your life will the switch kick on?
Yeah. When does something tell? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. That's a great question because I was just gonna throw this in. She's not doing it anymore. She now is a waitress or a supervisor. I think she said at Golden Corral.
A waitress at Golden Corral.
which is.
But
like
you know what?
crazy.
If that's what you got to do to detox from all that you've been through, she said, I don't make but $300 in a whole week, if that much. But at the same time, she rears back to brag that, well, I paid off my cars in cash.
Me too, because
but that's the switch that kicked in though. Just because she's a waitress at waitress won't call it waitress at Golden Corral, but doesn't mean you got to start. She got to start out big. She can start out small, and starting out small maybe that's what's helping her build to where she's got to get to. You're never gonna start at the top,
but I think
you have to start at the bottom to get your strength together.
But to your point, Ron, I think it has become increasingly harder for us as especially our young people because everything is at their fingertips. They don't have to wait for anything. They don't have to wait for the popcorn to get done. They don't have to wait to turn the TV on. They don't have to wait for it to heat up and warm up and the snow to formulate into a picture. They don't have to wait on anything. Everything is right in front of them at their fingertips all the time. So when you start telling them, well, success is delayed, guys, it doesn't come that fast, that doesn't make sense to them. They think they're a TikTok
video. It's our responsibility to teach them that.
Yeah,
right.
It is our responsibility.
It is.
They be at their fingertips, but us as parents also have to rein them in sometimes. When you want to slow down, you pull the reins.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say everything's at your fingertips. Because we tell you, go to college for 4 years. 4 years is a long time. That ain't at your fingertip.
Yeah, but I don't know if they listen to that message anymore because they don't have to go to college and be a success anymore.
But the only thing that is instant success for them is the stuff that really comes easy, which is the drug game. Let me be a rapper. Let me do the stuff that doesn't have a benefit at the very end is what is the fast, easy cash, which is what they want and what they like.
Which they want.
It's because we glamorize it. I mean, the thing is, and there's nothing wrong with being like there's nothing wrong with being a rapper if that's what you want to do, as long as you're uplifting people like KRS-One, he brings a positive message. But I always try to tell my kids that an overnight success is 10 years in the making, and that not everything that glitters is gold. You have to keep that in mind. We glamorize having money. We glamorize having this, that, and the third. And that's part of the problem because everybody wants a piece of it. Me personally, I don't care about money. I don't care about, we have this, we set up, and this has been happening for years. Women used to not have any honor. They didn't honor us at all. And we couldn't even own like property. So we were like property, So when the husband passed away, it was for us to go and get another husband because we had to have someone take care of us. And because we couldn't have it, it was passed down from male to male. And I think that is some of the problems now. So like a lot of people, not everyone, I want to make sure I'm not overgeneralizing, but we teach or we say to the women, go out and get a man who has who's rich. We're not marrying for love. We're marrying for stability. And that's a problem. Instead of looking at it like, okay, I don't care that you have a whole bunch of money. Let's build together. Let's build this kingdom, this empire, I should say, not kingdom, but this empire together. So for me, that's a problem.
Well, Patrice, you said something really interesting, and it's true, and I just feel like it needs to be on the table too. Now, women we're always the second, but let's face it, Black women were even under that. Okay, white women were always first. Any minority of that, we gotta fight for y'all. Oh, your husband now? Oh, that's a shame. You ain't getting nothing. Don't worry about it. Just get out there and get a second job. You'll be all right.
Yep.
Whereas society wants to protect the white woman. Oh, she lost her husband and she has babies. You know, it's a totally different level for Black women, period. And that needs to be said.
Yep. It's that expectation we were talking about earlier. You hold us to a higher standard. And then even when we hit that standard, now you're going to raise the bar even higher. The ceiling is higher now. And we have to get that. And not that we shouldn't expect excellence. I don't mean that. It's just the expectation. It's almost like it seems like we're never going to get to that level.
Yeah, but whose level are we saying? Until we set our own level and we help uplift one another, we stuck.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. We need to build our own tables.
Yeah,
build our own tables, fix our own food.
But I go back to what Lloyd said about your where you come from. I know Cuz is not here, and you know he's always been the defender of the earth, a defender of women, Black women. All of the men here are, but you know he is one who is, he says it every day practically. But the point I brought that up is because I mean, if you don't. And I know, let me just stick with my first thought. We're not taught what is the good man. You haven't seen the good man. So you're saying each guy that says he's interested in you, are you him? Are you the good man? Yeah. He's nice to me. Is he the one that's going to lead me in the right direction? Because we were talking about yesterday in regard to being led, having a strong leadership, in your family, in your household, and your husband. And I'm like, are you going to lead me? And then so some of the guys were like, or even some of the ladies were like, I don't need no man to lead me. Okay. But, you guys said at the beginning about, that we're nurturers. We're, as women,
it's hard, ain't it?
I'm struggling because I know, full disclosure, I know when I went to college, my dad was in the military trying to save the world on the other side of the globe, not over here where I was at. My mama was struggling, trying to do the best she could, rubbing 2 nickels together. So I would be at college with no money, no food. And then I talked to some of my other line sisters. They was like, they was at college with no food, trying to get ramen noodles and stuff like that because we were there with no money. But then all of a sudden, older dudes start trying to talk to us, trying to show interest in us. And then they would be like, you need groceries? You need some food? Let me take you out to eat. Now, I'm not saying that any of us went into the line of work that lady went into, but I'm saying, why are the young women being put in positions like that? Because the father is absent. The mother is trying to rub 2 nickels together, trying to work 2 jobs, and sometimes the 2 jobs is not enough. How dare he try to put it all on the woman as being irresponsible? She didn't become a mama by herself. Right. Why do you get to say, it's another body, I'm dropping another body, I'm putting another notch on my belt? Why do you get to go home, shower, change clothes, and then come out like you brand new because like you ain't done nothing? But a woman is scorned. A woman gets the scarlet letter. A woman gets called irresponsible. But your tail don't have to take no responsibility.
Exactly.
So Mama knows the question.
You said it. The seed dropper. It's that, what is it? Mama's baby, Papa's maybe.
Papa's baby. So Mama knows, quick question. One of the things you said was women are not seeing what good men are. They're not being taught what a good man is. Is only getting that education from your father, or can you get that education from other people other than your dad?
Oh, you can. I'm going to be the first one to tell you I was raised in a village. Okay, I lived in little old Prospect, Kentucky. All right, and all that out there was fam. Right, I had my uncles, I had my aunties, I had my church. And I'm gonna give you something. I don't like to talk too much about this, but my auntie raised me. She's my mama. She raised me since the age of 3. My birth mother came and dropped me off at the door. All right. So I still have family out there. When we finally started talking, my brothers and my sister and I, even though I grew up in a happy household, I would say, I don't understand why she gave me up and she kept y'all. And you know what they said to me? They said, we wanted to be you. Because their lives was much harder than mine. Their lives was streets. And I realized just how much I was blessed. So yes, you don't have to just have your father in the household. An uncle will do just fine. A good minister will do just fine.
If he's good.
Family male friend that has good intentions.
Right. They're good. Yeah.
Just fine. But you have to have that example.
Right.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't want to, because the defender of the earth, ain't here today.
Get in the chat.
First thing he gonna say is the daddy in the house, and I always say it's the right male figure. It's the right man. But there's a lot more, and we had this discussion yesterday. There are more of the good guys out there than what we really see or what we really talk about, because the good guy does not get publicized anywhere.
We're not going to talk about like the bad boys. You talk like the bad boys.
Right. We're not going to talk about the doctors, the lawyers, the Tonys down the street that's taking care of his kids, get up every day, go throw trash every day to make sure his kids are getting where they need to be, waking up every day, make sure kids go to school. We're not going to talk about him. We're going to talk about that one dude with a show called Wildin' Out. They got 8 kids.
Right.
By 7, 8 different women.
And let me address something that Danny said, because I think it's interesting in the conversation. He said life's about choices, right or wrong. You're going to make mistakes in life, but when it comes to doing wrong, you know it's wrong, and you choose to do it anyway, and you get what you get. You can't blame your parents, boyfriend, etc. That is on you. You choose to work in that field. You could have walked away, take accountability for your mistakes. Nothing untrue about anything that he said. I just think it's without complete context, because if life is about choices, but your choices are dictated by your circumstances, and so what you say, you can justify whatever wrong you want to do based on the circumstances that you're in, whether or not that's right or not. Listen, a lot of people, when they are backed against the wall, they don't choose right. They choose survival.
But I think what Danny's point is, at what point do you change that that circumstance wrong? Willie's been whooping your ass every day. You've been surviving all this time. When do you get out?
But that's different for everybody.
Yeah, that's you can't. I don't think it's as simple. That sounds right.
I'm not saying that it's simple, but I'm saying it's that growing up. You're never gonna pick the right person the first time. That's why you date as much people as you date.
By the way, that handsome eating dude down there is our guy Tim. Can't get my pointer right today. Yeah. Down there you go. So shout out to Tim Hinkle.
Let's kind of go back when I always talk about your pick a nigger meter. Yeah. You're constantly tweaking that pick a nigger meter. From the different people that you meet, the different people that you date, the different people so you're gonna fix that meter till you find that perfect person that you're looking for, or the
person that you're looking for. But I don't want to even make it just about selection of relationship. Let's even just deal with, if we're talking about the one young lady, let's just deal with the core aspect of my mama ain't nothing, my daddy ain't nothing. I'm out here trying to fend for myself. I didn't get the feeling that I could be wrong. I didn't get the feeling that she graduated high school. No. So no high school degree, and in her mind, no prospects of future. So I'm doing, and she said at 16 she had a baby. So in her mind, she's saying, is this the wrong choice or is this a survival choice? Am I doing what I have to do in this moment to survive? Now, is it wrong? Of course it is. But it's her circumstances. So I don't know if I want to crucify somebody on making a bad choice in, context matters, man. Context matters. And I think
guess
you got to, go ahead.
Some of my context is are you saying that black men are the only ones that make good choices? That's what the guy said. He said, we the ones who are irresponsible. So we're the only ones, Mr. Panamanian, sir, that said, y'all let all these women do everything in the United States. First of all, we shouldn't have listened to you in the first place. You don't even know what you're talking about. Secondly, you're saying the black man makes all right choices? We didn't get in this just to be by happenstance.
Well, I don't think anybody here is saying that.
Where's when he let all the guys in the house with the dirty feet? What kind of man are you to let that type of stuff come in your house in the first place? They your friends? I'm just saying.
But don't get fixated on that, because again, that's an analogy that he's using to cross over to letting men in, women letting men.
But to me, he's trying to say that men were perfect, and women are the ones that are irresponsible. Well, you're talking about all your brethren that we're letting in the house. Why? That don't make sense. That seems like you're trying to let men off the hook. We're all on the hook.
Well, look,
he was letting men off the hook, Mama Noise. You 100%. He was letting men off the hook.
He was. Let me get Tim in there real quick. Go ahead, Tim.
Society won't let black men off the hook. Society holds us to a higher standard than anybody. When we go out in these streets, we have to worry about folks who don't look like us, who don't agree with us, and really some of them not for us. But when you have to deal with that when you come home, and you have to look at the woman that you're supposed to be with, and she's doing the same thing and beating you down mentally and emotionally, that's not good. That's not good at all. So when we sound like when we're talking about blaming these men, the first teachers of our kids is the mothers. That's hands down. The first teachers of our kids. They're the first. They're the first teachers that any child's gonna ever learn from is their mothers. So I'm gonna blame the woman's mother first, because first of all, it don't sound like the father was really responsible, and the mother knew that, and the kid found that out early, so he's no good. So she probably should have had some type of other male role model influence in her life other than her father.
But he wasn't there. He wasn't there though.
Sounds like she was just as broken.
I was gonna say she sounded like she was just as.
Yeah, it was bad from the start. Her situation was bad from the start.
But not only that, like you guys were. The thing is that she was in a trauma bond, and she couldn't break that. And sometimes, not even sometimes, you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
So you have to get to that point. And I think that a lot of times the problem is that we haven't set a blueprint. We're searching, but we haven't set a blueprint for what we want in a mate. Sometimes we don't know. We don't know what that looks like. Like he was, and I forgot his name, but
Tim. Yeah.
No, the other way, right here.
Oh, Ron.
He was saying, oh God, what did he say? You were saying something and now I forgot it. That's so funny. When I did all this, I forgot.
With me, no telling, it might have been something crazy as hell. So
no,
9 times out of 10.
It made me think about the whole blueprint and what we're looking for. Like we don't know what we're supposed to be looking for a lot of times. And so we don't set that. We just keep going based on that, trying to find a connection, trying to connect. But then over to the other side, this brother here, he had a good point too. I do think that, women, the mothers, are the first teacher. Now, you could teach your kids the right thing or what you perceive to be the right thing, and they still make bad choices. So at some point, somebody has to take responsibility. Regardless, if you know that it's wrong, you feel that it's wrong, you do have to take responsibility. But along with that, you also need to have empathy because, like Papa Noise said, You can't expect everybody. Not everybody's going to make the right choice. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, not everybody's going to make the right choice. For me personally, I grew up in a very abusive household, but I knew it wasn't right. Something inside of me said, that's not how things are supposed to be. But not everybody is me. Not everybody would respond the way that I do and say, okay, I'm not doing that. Because what happened is I ended up finding myself in an abusive relationship, but it wasn't physical. And I was in a trauma bond because I didn't realize that abuse comes in so many different forms.
Yeah. And let me say this, because Stefan said, well, let's not pretend that your own survival mode is being a hoe. I don't think anybody's giving the young lady a pass of what she's doing. But one of the things I think is missing from our society right now is an empathy towards those who don't have the opportunity to get the same information. And listen, I can't expect you to do better if you don't know how to. I just can't expect that. That's not fair. That's just not fair. In my humble opinion, that's not fair. To say that everybody knows right from wrong.
Oh, yeah.
No, they don't. They actually don't. Because your right and wrong is based on what you've been exposed to. So if you've only been exposed to right and wrong in the drug game, that's your foundation of right and wrong. If your right and wrong is based on your mama or your daddy being a pimp or a hoe or whatever, then that's your version of right. Your moral code is formulated by the circumstances and the people that you're around. Mm-hmm. So you only can function from there.
And the bad part, not the bad part about what Stefan's saying, but the whole phase is what gets promoted as making money.
I told y'all about that app I work for.
Yeah. Go ahead,
bring the young ladies in and let them do what they do. Now just spank them a little bit when they take their shirts off, but act like you care that they're doing that. But really, they're okay. You know, no, you're talking about kids here. And they want them younger and younger and younger. So if these kids see that they're gonna make money on social media, which they are, then why do I need to go to college? Hey, I can get what I want just by taking off my shirt.
That's what I think we have to do our best as parents to set that standard. Like, it is an expectation in this house that you will earn your degree. We got one, she has her degree, graduated at 20. This next one, he's got one more year to go. It is expected, and I have instilled that in him. It is expected that you will earn your degree.
But let me say this. Why are we pushing going to college so harder than some of these kids don't want to go to college? Some of these kids are not built for college. It's just not in them. Some of these kids just can't stay in school. But there's other opportunities of making money, because that's the only reason why we're going to college is to make money. Let's all keep it real. Let's all keep it a buck. The only reason why we go to college is to make money. Mm-hmm. I can go and get a trade and make way more money with less debt.
Problem is they took all the freaking trade schools out and started this stupid college promotion. I prefer a kid to go to a trade school.
Why not? Because then I'm working for myself instead of working for somebody else. I'm gonna be my own boss instead of being somebody else's co-worker.
Because if you look at all the computer stuff that you're doing today, coding and all that stuff can be learned in the
certification.
Not going to college.
Certification. That's all it is, certifications. You don't have to go to college to do all that. You can certifications. And most of this is. But most of these kids we're talking about, they're going to college, and we just talk about women are most educated, but yet the women are most in debt too, because they're coming out with $100,000 in debt. Unless you get the opportunity to get a scholarship, why?
But see, that's the thing. That's what I did for my daughter.
Okay.
She actually got a $25,000 academic scholarship, graduating top of the class. You have to set those expectations, but along with that, you have to teach your kids how to fish. So here, I know that my son, he's prepping for college. He's definitely, he's going. We're just going to put it out there. He's going. Now, if I had a child that I didn't know or that I knew, and I knew that he wasn't academic, then I guess I could see it. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with trade. but for over here, this is what we gonna do. Sometimes I think that we don't set that expectation, and we don't allow our kids to. We don't have that expectation that they can do this. And again, there's nothing wrong with trade school, but if you are going to have that expectation that they're going to go to college, then you need to make sure that you're working with them to show them. Not only do you go to college for, excuse me, to earn money, or not, to earn money, like to get a job, but you go to college for the experience. That's where they learn how to be adults. Everything that you've been applying, all these life skills that you've been teaching them, they take that and they go out on their own in what we would hope would be a safer environment for them to learn how to grow up and to be adults and be in the real world without being in the real world at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but you're not learning how to be an adult in college, because you're still under watching your parents, because that's where they wanted you to go. They encouraged you to go. That's where they forced you to go. So how are you learning to be? The only thing you're learning is how to continue to do what you've been doing, going to school, studying, and retaining whatever knowledge you get. But you're not really learning to be an adult. Now, if they're paying everything and their parents are not paying any bill, then they're learning. They don't learn to after graduation how to be an adult. And some of them still don't either, because some of them still live with their parents all the way up to maybe about 26 or 27 years old, because they just can't afford to live on their own, because they have so much college debt they can't afford to do it. Well, I understand what you're saying, and like I said, if my son's going to get a scholarship, so he's going to get a free ride, I'm gonna encourage him to go to college. But if my son was not the type to afford, to get a scholarship or nothing like that, I'll say, buddy, if you want to go to college, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna find a way to get you there. But if that's just not your avenue, and you want to do something else, then I'm not going to discourage him from doing that either.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I mean, if he wants to go to trade school, that's fine after, but he's going to get this. I mean, he can choose whatever he wants. For me, for over here, my son, I know that he is the educating type. I'll say it like that. If he wasn't, like my brothers, one of my brothers, he went for a semester or two and realized it wasn't for him. I get that, but he at least gave it a shot. So for me, when I went to school, I grew up. That was my out for me to go to college. It was my out. So what you say, it makes sense, but it doesn't apply to everyone. But
no, it doesn't. Just like that's why I'm saying, right. Just like college doesn't apply to everyone.
Yes, and I can definitely say that. I agree with you on that.
I'll say this. You got to know your child.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the thing that I take from both of your conversations, I don't think either of you are wrong in what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I think the reality is, look at two parents involved in their kids' life to figure out what their path is. And because all we're really talking about at the end of the day is what's your purpose, what's your plan, to fulfill that purpose. And so because listen, here's the reality. Listen, I'm gonna just keep it all the way. There are a lot of paths to building a career and or making money that wasn't the same things that we grew up with. And so for us to use the antiquated, and I think it is a little bit antiquated to say you just got to go to college. It is a little antiquated because it may not be the most viable path for your child. Because I would agree with this in that regard, and then I want to get back to where we were. But what if your child's end game is this thing over here, and you can get to that thing without going into debt, then go to that thing. There's other ways to get to that thing. So you got to figure out what the path is, and not because there's just so many different ways to do it now. There's just so many ways to do it, and it is a tricky game to say I'm gonna send you to a school where you're gonna pay $50,000 to $80,000 in debt, and then we're gonna give you a $35,000 job when you get out. That's a lot. That's a lot to say.
When I went to college on grants. I mean, so I can't say that I drummed up a bunch of debt or whatever. It was all, thank God, state and Pell grants, and I'm so grateful for that. The problem was that my mama thought that just getting me there was all that she needed to do. You need that food card, and then working. I had a job. So, for people like, well, all you got to do is get your job. Well, I had a job. I had to do work study, but then, okay, well, just get your job off campus and go to school full time. Okay. There was no bus system at that time. All you got to do is find somebody. All you got to do is, it's so simple in somebody else's world. Yep. All you got to do is somebody said something about, well, you're getting tired of getting your ass kicked, then get out of the relationship. Well, sometimes, you know what? If you grew up in a house where all you saw was your mama getting her ass kicked, you thinking, well, he loves me. That's and you saying, well, you need to kick it back. That's gonna solve the problem. Right. No, that's I think that he says he loves me. Well, you're getting verbally abused. You need to get out of that relationship. That ain't nobody should have to stand for that. How? All you gotta do
when they're gonna shut the door. When you do it, I'm sorry, ain't no room here for you.
I'm just right. All you gotta do is, but now, so how can I depend on you to help me? Well, now I know somebody who can help you. But now, I don't know about me, but all I know is that ain't what you're supposed to. It's like, come on. It's so easy to just stand back and pass the buck and make it somebody else's fault or somebody else's problem. You saying, here's where I am. Either you're going to help be a part of the solution or continue to talk about the problem.
With all you got to do.
All you got to do is.
But the thing is, Mama Noise, not everybody is going to help you, and not everybody's designed to help you.
Yeah.
At some point, and I was just like you, Mama Noise. When I went to college, my parents said, "Hey, you want to go college? Go college. Do what you got to do." I got there. I had to do what I had to do. I didn't have the financial support coming in. Hell, even through high school, I worked 3 jobs and went to school. At some point, you have to take, and I know we hate to say it, but you got to take personal responsibility at some point. You have to make a conscious decision at some age. Sometimes people can do that young, and some people can't do it till they get older. But you have to make a decision. You know what? I got to do better than what I've seen.
But that brings us right back to where we began. Yes, we have to make the personal decision. But if you are surrounded by bad personal decisions and you were raised on bad personal decisions, you are going to have a hell of a time making.
And I was born around them bad decisions. I grew up in those bad decisions. I grew up in the projects. I've done all that.
But it's tougher. I mean, let's face it. That's tough to get out of that mentality.
It's hard as hell to get rid of that mentality. But at some point, you do come back and you tell yourself, damn the projects, man. I can't keep living in these goddamn projects and looking at the same shit over and over. My partners are getting killed.
That's why I don't believe in subscribing to the victim Olympics. I'm not a fan of that.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that. That's the worst thing that can ever happen to our people. Because in 2022 we have way more opportunities than we ever had, and so we can't keep coming up with excuses on why we can't do this, why we can't do that. Too many opportunities out there for us as people. We just got to start doing it. We can't rely on other people to take care of us. Keep your reparations. I don't expect to get them. I don't want them. Keep them, because I'm gonna do what I have to do.
And those other people are not. Those other folks are not designed to help us. It's better for them to keep us down than to help us. There's no benefit for them to help us.
First of all, there's going to be some type of string attached to them if they did. So I don't want to feel like I owe you, because I don't. I don't need that.
It's called student loans.
It's called student loans.
Prime example.
What was that other one? You got the student loan. What was the other damn thing you had to get when you was in college as well?
Pell grants. Yeah. The thought engineer just joined us as well. Cuz was trying to get in here. We lost him, but hopefully he may be able to come back.
We want to hear his bullshit today anyway.
Don't be talking about your pastor like it.
Yeah, that ain't your pastor. That's rude, really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the church janitor today, so.
Oh, now you want to be the boy.
Over this way. Here,
You the custodian.
I agree with you. That it to me, I don't subscribe to that either. I think at some point you take the responsibility, even if you were the victim at some point. Sometimes at some point you have to become the survivor, and that's when you start to make those changes. So sometimes it's a big pill to swallow. Everything that you've been through, everything that you start to blame yourself. I allowed myself to do this. I allowed myself to go through this. And then at some point you just say, you know what? I take responsibility for my part. Even if you were the victim, I take responsibility for staying in it. But now I'm going to do better. Now I'm going to change. Now I'm going to move forward. I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to stay out of my head, because a lot of times we've been through so much trauma. We've been through this abuse. In our head, we tell us we tell ourselves we don't deserve this. We don't deserve this. But at some point, you have to change, even if you have to go against the grain, because not everybody's going to be on your side. Not everybody's going to be rooting for you. They don't know what you've been through, and they might just be happy where they are. So you just have to keep pushing forward. So I'm saying I agree with you 100%.
But you know something, it doesn't matter what you've been through, because they don't care.
Exactly.
You know what they're gonna say? F your feelings.
And it don't matter.
Move on.
Matter.
Get up and get out and do something.
Get up and get out. Do what you got.
I mean,
That's other people telling you that. If your mind frame, this is going right back to where we were. If you are not, that's great in a perfect world, y'all. It's a magical unicorn and it's all rainbow. Ching, lucky charms. But if you don't have the right pool, you don't have the right pond, it's hard for somebody to see anything to click on that switch. It's a personal and a situational thing. So we can't always just be shaking our head about we need to do better. Because maybe they think they are doing better because that was better than where they were. So this is where we're right back in the beginning. This young lady sees that she had to do what she needed to do to make her money. And why would she work at McDonald's when she was $1,800?
I was gonna say, no, she was doing better. She was making $1,200 a day.
Her turning tricks ain't her turning tricks. She knew that was wrong. She knew that was wrong.
Again, we keep saying that, and yes, she knew criminally it was wrong. But based on her circumstances, she doesn't know it's wrong. She's like, what else? I ain't got nothing else. I got no other options.
No, she had
either I sell this, which I know I don't.
Now, she made a decision.
I can say
no question about it. Go ahead.
There's a theory. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's something like selective blindness. And you can get so focused on something to where you miss the obvious. There's an experiment that was done, and they had two teams of people, of 3 people, and they both had one had black on, the other had red on, and they were to pass the ball in the same area between the teams. And your job was to count one team how many times they passed the ball. In the middle of the experiment, they brought a person in a gorilla costume through the middle of the experiment. They got to the middle of the circle, did a little dance, then walked out. So at the end, the person asked, so how many times did the team pass the ball? The people answer the question. Then they would ask, well, how many of y'all saw the gorilla? They never saw it. Because our focus can make us so blind to everything else that we miss the obvious. And you say all these opportunities out here and all this kind of stuff, because their focus has been shaped by their circumstances, it's hard for them to see. And I tell people, this is why pain is necessary. Pain is a motivator. Pain is a motivator. Because of the pain I went through growing up, I woke up. I was like, man, I do not want that anymore. So guess what? I'm about to change. I had the desire, but I didn't have the knowledge. So I got the knowledge, matched it with the desire, things began to change. So we got to have an understanding of people in these situations. If you come from it, there's some grace that you can give people. Now, that doesn't mean you just buy every excuse that people throw you, because you know what it is, but there's still a certain point we got to say, just like Sister said, if they've elevated just a little bit, and you see, hey man, good job. That's great going. What you gonna do next? You know what I'm saying? And you just keep motivating them to go past that. But that young lady, she doesn't see the full weight of her choices yet.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
she
does now. She does now.
How many of us knew ourselves at 23?
Right. She has a daughter.
Yeah.
She has a daughter. And she probably just started to become aware of everything she exposed her daughter to. Now, the choice of whether she feel like what she showed her was wrong or right depends on her mindset, where she comes from. And until somebody introduces it to her and say, you know what, your daughter should have been seeing all that type of stuff, then she might not even be aware of, you know, what was wrong with what I was showing her. I had a sister used to sit up there and watch all of those Housewives of Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop in front of my niece. And I told her, you need to stop doing that. She didn't see anything wrong with it. But now my niece is older now. She acts out and all this kind of stuff. And I'm saying, you got to watch what you was putting in her. But in your mind, you didn't see nothing wrong because she couldn't verbalize, because she was so young, she couldn't verbalize to you how she felt about what she was seeing. But now we see the effects of it. So you got to be careful.
And by the way,
the same thing is when you see these babies shaking their butt and everybody's like, oh, that's so cute. Ain't nothing cute about that.
And by the way, the propensity for that young lady to go back into that lifestyle is great if something doesn't interrupt her trauma. Because she already said, if you're a sex worker, if you got sexual trauma, you'll do fine in this industry.
She sure did.
So she still has that trauma. So if things get tight again, she might go back. She may go back.
She also said she had the capability to be able to switch off. Do you understand what it's sort of like what Derek just described in the experiment. She switched off. Like, in other words, I'm going in there performing all these sexual acts and stuff, but I'm not in. My body's dead, or my mind is somewhere on a beach in another country, but I'm physically over here doing all that I have to do in order to make this money. So then I switch back on. Then I switch back off. Can you imagine?
But let me throw the cuz curveball right now. Where are the black men that could have interrupted this journey for her?
In the rooms receiving the services.
Bam! Woo! Wow, that hit me right.
One more time for the people in the back.
Let me say something. What would it have been like if a man had been doing the same thing, but he was selling drugs, and he used that for his excuse? This is my neighborhood. It's all I know. I don't know any better. I don't know anything different. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have the same sympathy for his black ass.
No, I would say that. I would.
No.
I would, Tim. I'm telling you.
Let me tell you look, if a man is selling drugs and now he's selling in your neighborhood, you see it going on. Man, it's all I know. It's the only thing that I got. I can't do nothing else. I have no other skills. I have nothing.
But I'm not saying I would validate his choice. You said, would I have sympathy for his decision? That's different. I would have sympathy for his decision, but I would try to tell him, no, bro, that's not true. You have options. You just got to pursue those options. Now, we got to be realistic of what those options are going to produce, because you're starting from the ground floor. And if you don't have a high school degree and you don't have a plan and you don't have, you're going to have to start. You're not going to make the money that you was making over here. You're going to make some different kind of money. So
that same conversation need to be had with that woman.
I agree. But what I'm saying is,
I haven't heard this. I haven't heard nobody say this.
Oh, no, I said it earlier. I just said it earlier.
I've been hearing say, where's the father? Why is she making these decisions? I've been hearing everything else.
No. I don't know if y'all heard me, but I said it earlier. I do think somebody should have said to her, hey, you can do better than this. But this is the path that better looks like. And it takes time, and you're going to have to crawl out of that. It's not overnight. And she's doing that. To her credit, she is doing that. She's, like you said, I'm a waitress at Golden Corral now. I'm not out here doing that anymore, per se. Now, I remember
Lloyd used to work with students that did not have a high school diploma. And some of them,
Lloyd and Derek,
they both worked in a program that would help students that did not have high school diplomas, and if they didn't have the high school diploma, college wasn't even an option, but they helped them. Now, listen, the type of program they had specifically, it was out of the ordinary because I had never heard anything like that. But this program gave out bus tickets, so you can't say I didn't have a ride. Gas cards, so if you said you had a car and you didn't have no gas. Child care, if you said I got a 2-year-old, I ain't got nobody to leave him with, so I can go to school. I mean, this program gave you everything you needed in order to be successful. So if you run up on the local drug dealer and say, hey man, I've been wanting to do it, little Boosie talking about, I want to go to college, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know the first thing to do or whatever. You're saying, here are the resources. I remember this video, this young lady, I know we've said her accountability, you're right. But I believe, if I remember the video, now you guys are more than welcome to go back and watch it, she was kind of dropped in the middle of nowhere. When her daddy went on about his business, he had picked her up and placed her in a whole different city, saying, I done found me some woman, and you need to, take care of yourself, without any instruction. So I'm not justifying her actions. I'm saying all of these things we're saying now because we're in 2022 with all of these resources, and all they got to do is, man, I just don't believe that was back when we was making $4 an hour, $3.35 an hour back when I was going to high school. Had a job there, had a job in college. But sometimes you can have double jobs, because a couple of times I had 2 or 3 jobs. And those jobs weren't enough because, see, at least you got, well, I can stay at mama's house for a little while and save up my money and give me a little nest egg or something. But when you do need someone. I know everybody, there's a couple of people saying you don't need nobody. Sometimes you need at least someone.
I think
you need a disruptor.
To Tim's question, we didn't really say a lot about, somebody should have talked to the girl. The question for me, for the young lady, did she have a circle, a good circle that she could go to where somebody would put that in her ear?
No circle.
She didn't have that family. She didn't have that community. She didn't have that village. So this young lady was basically by herself. So she didn't have anybody in her ear kind of giving her some of that advice. Now, I'm not saying she didn't have somebody that we don't know about that was, Aunt Mary or somebody who saw her coming down the street and always was talking to her in her ear and she just didn't listen to it. But I think it goes back to, we talked about the whole village and the family. Having those people who can get into your ear goes a long way.
Yeah.
But if you've never had that, or you don't have that, it's rough. It's a struggle for somebody who don't have that.
So how many of us are willing to, okay, let's get real. Lloyd, you said that you would be able to talk to that young man in the neighborhood with selling the drugs. How many of us are willing to put our necks and our hearts out there to be the disruptor?
Well, full disclosure, and then I want to go to Derek. I have talked to both of those people, the stripper and / extra services and the drug dealer, and I had the same conversation with both of them.
But you're willing to do that,
right?
Instead of being the person that goes, "Ooh, that young lady, oh, honey, I talk to her, she's dirty."
Funny thing is,
going to be the disruptor?
all four guys on this screen has done that, and I'm thinking Tim, you probably done it at some point.
And we gotta understand, we fighting factors that so we got to get to the root of the problem.
Yes.
There are environmental situations that have been set up strategically to keep us in this place. You talk about college. It was never supposed for us to depend on Pell Grants and all this type of stuff, because there was supposed to be generational wealth to provide that for us.
Right.
And when you look at, I can't remember what the name of the Netflix special was, but Cory Booker was talking about his situation and how his dad fought to get, into this neighborhood to where he could actually get wealth for his family. This was never supposed to be this way for us.
Right.
And I think when people are responding to situations, if somebody is hungry, you can't go preaching to them about something they're doing to feed themselves.
Come on, sir.
You got the problem is, and I fought the church for this. The church has no resources to provide the needs, so you can have their minds.
What?
You got to deal with their immediate issue, and the Bible talks about that all the time. It says, don't tell a man you're gonna pray for him if you got the money to feed him.
I'm gonna throw something at this one.
If you got that money, feed him first. Now you can deal with him. We don't have the resources to deal with the immediate problem. We don't have enough resources in our community to deal with the immediate problem. Why is that young man out there selling drugs? He'll tell you it started. My folks was hungry. My mama lights getting cut off and stuff. I had to do something. Now it will spin into something else because he starts to see how lucrative that can be. Now I look at psychology a lot, and I realized I was like, why do people want to study psychology so much? Because it's to predict and control people. That's what people study psychology for. I need to understand your mind so I know how to set you up so I can set up a system to where it perpetuates an outcome that I want. And see, when we finally understand what's going on and we start to set things in motion to where we can get to the root of the problem, this whole thing will change. Now, it's a different conversation if this lady is taking on these types of jobs and everything, and it's clear she has no reason to.
Right.
It's clear the young man has no reason. He grew up in a good family. They had plenty of food, good house, and all this kind of stuff. Now he out here selling drugs. Yeah,
Right.
somebody need to whoop your butt.
Right. I'm gonna say this real quick because these kind of statements kind of infuriate me. I'm just gonna be honest. When somebody says, "Well, did she just want the nice clothes and the nice house, and she just want to eat Red Lobster?" To speak on somebody's, I'm gonna try. I don't know if I should say this nice. Maybe I should just say it. Yeah, I'll just say it. Fuck all that. Okay. If you trying to tell me that I'm not worthy of a humane experience,
you better come through.
I need to.
That's what you're telling me? I got to struggle. I have to struggle in order to achieve? That's bullshit. That's not how. Listen, there is a measure of struggle that we're going to because we are Black in America. That's just how it is. Because like you said, there is no generational pass down. We didn't get the advantage, so we're coming behind already. But to say that, oh, she only did it because she wanted a better life, well, damn it, we all want the better life. So I'm sorry, this woman's behind the 8 ball, and so to say, well, she chose it because she wanted. No, she did. She chose it because, damn it, we all want something better for ourselves, for our kids. Nobody wants to pass bullshit down to their kids that they done already been through. And if you do, something wrong with you as a parent.
Yeah, we should always want our kids to be. You should always want our kids to be
Let me
better.
tell you something. Let me brag on somebody right now. That guy down in the lower box down there with the plush black beard that I wish I had. That brother bust his ass.
I'm a little jealous too, I have to say.
I'm a little jealous, man, because that beard is popping. Okay, the beard is popping. All right, but let me say this.
Get it cleaned up, baby.
But let me say this. Just and we met actually through social media, and he's been listening to me for years, like from back in the days when I was on ESPN and all that stuff. He's a great friend. I love that brother. But I've also watched him and watched how he posts stuff and he says stuff and we've talked, whatever. I'm saying this dude has busted his ass to take care of his family and make their lives better. I don't know what his whole story is or what he's been through, but I've watched him try to make his family better because that's what you do as a man. This girl's daddy didn't give a damn about her life. So, no, I'm sorry. Listen, I understand your mama's struggling and working 3 jobs. My mom did the same thing. She sold Tupperware. She sold whatever she had to do. But that's my mama. That's your mama. That ain't her parents. So I'm not going to vilify this girl for making bad choices. What I'm going to try to do is help her understand she can make better ones. But they're hard. It's all hard. But I just don't have it in me to just rip this girl apart or rip the drug dealer apart because now he's wrong. They're all wrong. But damn it, the whole system is wrong. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's it.
His family fired up today.
You know something? We was talking the other day, and one of the things we was, I wish I'd have brought up, but I was on a discussion panel, man. They was talking about, public image. And what's that all about? And I know we was talking about how women and all of that yesterday. But one of my things I was sharing with my daughter is I'm not a fan of weave or the eyelashes or the talons that some of these ladies like to wear. I'm not a fan of it. Because to me, you're putting on a facade. You're not real. So if a man is trying to meet you, he's still not going to get the real you. I don't care how blunt you're talking to him, how real you think you are. You're not. Because if you're putting on all this makeup where you look like Tammy Faye Baker, there's nothing real about you. There's nothing. Not to me, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to switch up the
desire, just like a woman.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, ma'am?
Each man has his own desire, just
You
like a
right.
woman.
You right.
I love seeing me a man in the studio. You let my husband come in the studio. He ain't going out that door right now, baby. Okay, that is what I like. But I also love to see him on the basketball court in shorts. You know what I'm saying? But I see what you're saying. But you have to understand that everybody's desires are also different. There are men who do love that. So that I think that needs to be said, because I don't think women need to live up to everybody's expectations.
Well, you say love that. I don't think they love it. I think they tolerate it. They accept it. But to me, in my opinion, a man with himself, he doesn't really like all of that.
Wait a minute, Tim. Hold up.
I didn't mean to switch the subject. I'm sorry.
I think the thing is, are they putting as much effort into the internal beauty as the external?
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort into the external, but are they putting the same energy into the internal?
You can't. To me, I feel like you're trying to hide something.
The resume only gets you the interview. Resume only gets you the interview. That's it.
That's where I was going right there.
The resume only gets you the interview. Once you get in there and sit down and talk, that's a whole different ball game. And we got a lot of good resumes out there. But once the interview comes, it's like, nah.
But brother, you know, we're visual creatures as men. She could be speaking mumbo jumbo, and we're just hypnotized on what her appearance.
Well, let me say this. What we're not going to do is act like Tim didn't just say Tammy Faye Baker. I'm not going to sit here.
I mean, the chat is blowing up about it.
Yeah. That was one of the oldest statements that's ever been made on this show. So
I'm telling my age.
You told your whole age that time.
Yeah.
You went throwback.
It's a good thing that you like a natural woman. That's good. But like Lala said, there are so many out there that we'll go back to the bad B, all right? Setting that expectation, because women, especially Black women, our hair is a certain way, and we're trying to meet this standard. Because I used to be on the creamy crack for years because that's what I was taught. My mama put relaxers in my hair. I didn't realize that I could be natural, because then when I was natural at first, my hair was nappy, and it's setting that standard for us to be, and you're the exception to the rule. So I kudos to you. I give you kudos. But there's so many that want, they expect the nails to be done, the nails, the toes, and they want that long, luxurious hair. And if we want to find someone, a man, because we haven't set our own blueprint of what a good man would look like for us, we're trying to fit that mold because that's what they say is the standard for beauty.
Europeans.
Hey, I'm all for getting your nails done. I'm not for the talents.
For the talents?
The
I ain't
talent.
trying to say talents, like Eagles talents.
Okay.
But then it's also the same brother that be saying he wants this big booty, and you wasn't born with a big booty. So now you find yourself trying to make a trip over to the Dominican Republic, trying to go over there and get you a lift, because you saying he said that's what he want, or when we together with my birth given behind is not sufficient. So I'm sitting there watching him watch this girl walk back and forth who does have one. So now I gotta go and feel like less than and feel like, I guess the only way for me to keep him is to go and purchase one. Or you say, man, I wasn't born with breast. You know, now I got to go have a breast augmentation because, you know, I'm tired of everybody staring at Persephone on Instagram because she got the world's biggest titties. And you saying, dang, I mean, what's wrong with mine? I'm the one that, you know, I married you, or I'm your wife. Why ain't that sufficient? Yeah, but Persephone got the titties that make all the men look at. So then you say, dang, now I got to have breasts added, booty added, nails added. My hair ain't long enough because all you want to do is look at the girl when you get your little NFL contract. You want to get the girl with hair down to her backside, or you want to get the virgin weave chick that has her hair looking like she's from Hawaii or something. That's the chick you want to stare at. So then you want to know, why are women going around getting all these additives? Do we have a choice when we're not enough? Because it seems like that's why Instagram's so popular. That's why Twitter's so popular. That's why social media is so popular.
Just because we like it don't mean we love it.
Right.
We getting the same messages. We can't have a regular job. We can't be a 9-to-5 dude. We
You better not.
Messages.
You better not make only 45.
If it's the wrong woman, that's the thing. If it's the wrong woman,
there you go. And I guess I just don't fit that mold because I could care less, brother. You want to work in a car shop and you a good man, honey. Let me rub your hands for you at night, okay?
Right.
You don't have to be a certain way with me as long as I know I've got a good partner and a good man and we're equally yoked. That makes the difference. But that goes right back. How are we gonna get equally yoked when we got so many outside influences going on? You even said when you came in, Tim, you know, when you come home, when you're out in the world, you have to look a certain way and be a certain way for society. We do too. If we want that corporate job, you better not come in there with natural hair. You better not. And you better not come in with dark lipstick or nothing like that. You have to fit into the mold just like you. So when you get home, you want to be able to take all that off and be, per se, naked spiritually, mentally, everything with your spouse. But when you hit that outside of the door and that's all you got hit coming at you, what do you do? What do you think?
So let me tie this all back together because I think it's an interesting way it went, but it still fits into the bigger picture. The thing that because the topic again today is are Black women irresponsible? And my humble opinion obviously is no. It's just we are placing each other into positions where very difficult choices are having to be made because of the way we've allowed society to kind of unfold in front of us. And some of it isn't even the stuff that we've done. Some of it is just what society has become because of how we got placed in society. So it's generational stuff of over and over and over and over and over. You know, we're just it's perpetual, and we haven't broken these negative cycles. So we've got to do a better job, I think, of breaking these cycles of choice and reality that we're in, so that families, so that individuals can become better, and that they don't have to be looked upon or have to choose these harsh choices that are being made before us, and then we vilify them for making the choice.
Bingo. And then also, can we just right now learn the difference between holding you down and holding you back? Because you know, let's talk about Black women and how we're going to hold you down. But that also means that we are going to hold you accountable. We're going to lift you up, but we're not going to put up with that extra stuff. But now we have a problem. We have an attitude because we want to see you be great. Can we stop that? And can we understand the difference between it? Can we understand that we want you to be great because your destiny is tied to my destiny? If we can understand that and take off these unrealistic expectations that we have on each other, not just Black women, Black men too. We have those unrealistic expectations. If we can take that off and we can look at who we are at the core and understand that, just like Lala was saying earlier about us being natural nurturers, yes, in that we are going to hold you down we're going to hold you accountable because we already see something great in you. We just want you to see it. If we can do all that, then I think we'll be in a better position.
And would that go would that go the opposite well of us holding you accountable?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just the same.
I want you to hold me accountable because
we got to break that cycle as well.
Please, please do. Please.
We're growing together. We got to grow together because let's face it, we're not the same people. Like my husband and I got married when we were 23 years old. We were yoked then, but we're not the same people in the same spot at 52. You learn as you go along. You grow as you go along. And that's one thing I can always say. When we see that we could do better, we will say, nah, honey, you know we could do better than that. Let's go ahead and let's try to get this next level together. You know, that's where it all starts. But now look, we're right back at the beginning. This young lady didn't have that. So all this just goes back to the foundation. And you're so right. We got to rebuild that solid foundation and not give them broken foundations. Right. Where does it start? With us.
Yep. Have that level of empathy for her, but also have a level of expectation that, no, we're not going to do that. That's not okay, what you did. But also have a heart and understand that she's been through things that she don't know. Now you know, let's make it better. Let's lift you up. When I used to work in the school systems, especially like in downtown Minneapolis, I love my kids. The kids were amazing. I noticed the difference between how I would communicate as a Black teacher or a Black staff member and how the non teachers of color would respond with them, and I would respond and interact with the students. And I remember one particular time, there was a student who, we were downtown Minneapolis. There was a student who they didn't feel well. And at the top of the stairs, there was a Coke machine. We had about maybe 7 minutes. And so the teacher said, okay, not the teacher, the student asked if they could go upstairs to get something. So it was so close to class. It was so close to the day starting. So I said, okay, I'm going to go with you. Let's go. So there was a principal in training. She wasn't the principal, but a principal in training that thought she would come to me and say, why did you let them do this? So I had to educate her real quick and just let her know, first of all, we're establishing relationships here. This is why they don't like you. This is why they're not, that's what I said. I'm just being honest. This is why they're not going to come to you, because you're judging them. You already decided what they're going to do. You already know that this student is going to ditch school when they had a stomach ache. They needed a Sprite. You have to be that person that changes the narrative.
It's good. That's good stuff.
And it's not easy. When you take that on, just understand you signing up for some hardship. You signing up for some headaches. You signing up for some grief. You know what I'm saying? You signing up for that. But what's the outcome? What are you working towards? And that's what we got to keep in mind, what we're working towards. This thing will never change if we just try to slap a Band-Aid on it and try to call it good.
Exactly. You're exactly right. But in the same token, the next student, there were a couple of other students that were doing things that I didn't like. So that's when you have to have those courageous conversations. Say, look, first of all, this is what they expect from us. I'm going to need you to stop. You need to be better. So looking at how we can make things a better world, how we can lift each other up.
You know, this is an amazing, like we said, like Jay said in the chat, it's been a great conversation today. You know, Tim, you asked the question about the ability to empathize with the drug dealing guy, the same level of the drug or the young lady that we saw in the video. But I want to go back all the way back to the first video that we saw yesterday and we started the conversation with. I also empathize with the ignorance of the Panamanian dude that said all that bullshit. Because, bro, he's also speaking from a place of hurt. Because if you know his background story, his mom kind of did some of the stuff that he's accusing the ladies of doing. And so rather than deal with your own stuff, you're projecting all your stuff onto other people. And therein lies my final point, I guess. We got to teach people how to rise above what they've been through. And Lala, you said something real key. You said, are we willing to stand in their way and kind of impede their path without, you used a different phrase, but disrupt. I'm saying disrupt their path. And I think if we're not willing to do that as Black people for each other and try to help the weakest among us, truly help the weakest among us, then we're never going to get anybody. We're never going to make our community better. It's just not going to happen. Because there are some of us who simply don't understand what we're talking about here today. There are some women that were in that room. If you go back and look at the banner that we created for today's show, all of the women that were in that room are in that picture. And so look what they're doing. This is the same dude that called those women bitches, and they all standing around him with their titties out and saying, "Oh, let's take a picture. Oh, world star." It's in their minds, there's a disconnect somewhere. So we've normalized pain. We've normalized trauma. We've excused it and said it's okay. You've never hear me say anything about this young lady, the shit she was doing being okay. But I'm saying, in order for me to help her, I first have to understand why she did it. Mm-hmm. Then now that I understand it, now I can help her walk through it and say, here's what can happen if you choose a different path. And listen, good disruptors tell people the truth. They don't sell them a dream without a reality.
That's why
half the people in that picture weren't even Black.
What?
Half the women in that picture weren't even Black.
Well, 2 of them weren't Black. So
a little bit more than 2, man.
That's why I was saying agreeing with Patrice is that in the school you find out that the boy who keeps acting out is hungry.
Yeah.
The young Black lady, young Kiki at my school, young Kiki was acting out because she said, all my friends are dead. There's nothing but death all around me. So you want me to be serious enough to learn about social studies? Well, what can I say? She said, Miss Spencer, I come to school and ain't no lights in my house. But you want me to focus on social studies?
Yep.
What? Why don't she change her circumstances? Why don't she call her auntie? Why don't she move in with somebody else? Why don't she? Come on, man. Some people have been dealt a bad hand. Yeah. My heart breaks at the thought of, I never knew that child kept bouncing off the wall because he was hungry. But like Patrice said, how do you know unless you ask? Everything all right? Anything I can do to help? Now, sometimes you put yourself out there, but if you don't, who is? You just gonna keep on writing them off, calling the principal, calling the football coach to come get
him
because he acting out.
That label sticks.
Yeah, that label is for a purpose.
And then it runs through the school, so now every teacher be like, "Oh, here he comes." I guess that's
Ray in my class.
Yeah. And then they call me and I got to go into Black mama mode. Why are you acting like it? What's wrong with you? I don't like her. What does liking the teacher got to do with you doing your work?
Yeah. Because she doesn't believe in him. She's already told him who he is.
Oh yeah,
getting to know who he is.
He needs a Black teacher that can handle him.
Yeah.
Wow.
My wife says all the time, she talks about behavior as a response.
Yeah.
It's a response to something. Shameless plug. My wife deals with this Teaching Through the Eyes of Trauma. She has a podcast. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out.
Work it, sir.
Give me a second,
Teaching Through the
Derek.
Eyes
Okay,
of
here we
Trauma.
go.
That's it. Teaching Through the Eyes of Trauma, Dr. Selena Smith. And this is what she studies, this is what she deals with, and she talks about all the time, making that connection. How you can't really deal with them. And she goes through stories. My wife used to come home with stories all the time about the stuff the kids have gone through. And it'll blow your mind. And these are kids, but the things that these adults subject them to.
What? Say it again.
What?
They subject these kids to some horrible situations. And then you put a standard in education of what success looks like, but you purposely put that standard knowing that this standard only applies to 2-parent homes where, you know what I'm saying, the parents are working and all this kind of stuff and they're taking care of the kids and all this kind of stuff. Everybody don't have that situation. So that equity is not there in education as well, but it's not there anywhere. And I tell people all the time, I know we get down on us as Black people, and truth be told, we the strongest things out there because we had to be.
Because we had to be.
Because we had to be. Because here's the thing, I tell people, white supremacy weakens them because they're never held to a standard of greatness. They're never forced to work harder. If you can just get a pass and get in, you don't. Quality begins to diminish, and you've seen the quality of this nation diminish, and they think it's because of us. It's not because of us. We've never been in position to diminish it. It's because of the standards that you have, and there is no requirements to what you have to do to fulfill this standard. You just place it on.
Think about a group of people or a culture of people who are conditioned to be buried in mud and to still crawl out and find air. Constantly buried in mud, constantly have it dumped on you in various ways, and we still fight through and find the air again. That's not a weak people. That's not a weak people. So that's number one. But then the other thing, man, Derek, listening to what you said, man, I've never helped a person change their life without first winning the person. Like, it's impossible. I've never done it. I can help you. If I haven't won you, I can't help you change the situation because you don't trust. Listen, Derek and I, here's another full disclosure. I'm about to out Derek. Me and Derek used to sell cars.
What?
That's right. We sold cars. We hated it, but we did it because we were trying to make the ends meet.
Never lied so much in my life.
Oh my goodness! Now listen, that's why I can't co-sign that one. And the reason why I say I can't, because that was my biggest struggle, Derek. They want you to lie, and I couldn't do it. I was just like, I think I lasted 3 weeks because I was like, man, I can't. Y'all got me out here lying and looking crazy. I can't do it.
I lasted about 6 months. So yeah. I did more lying than you did. So yeah.
You did more lying than I did. Okay. But here's the thing that I realized, man. People weren't buying the cars. They were buying the salesman.
That's right.
If they believe what I said, they'll buy what I told them to buy. If they didn't believe what I said, now every now and then you have a person come in and say, I really want that car. Okay. But most people come in, they say, well, most people don't talk about their car. Most people come in and talk about their payments. I want my payments to be at $200. Well, okay, stop it. Your payment's never gonna be at $200. That's not. Do you have $10,000, $15,000? Okay, then stop it. Let's move on. So,
yeah, but they teach you, distract them from the price.
Yes,
on payment, because if I can get them to agree on payment, they're not looking at how much this is gonna cost me at the end of this term. They look at, but I tell people all the time, people who discipline themselves have all the choices in the world. People who discipline themselves financially, they can stay where they want to stay, drive what they want to drive, all this type of stuff. When you deal in a car dealership, you can tell who is not financially disciplined.
Exactly.
The people who pay the most for car notes and stuff are the people who just happy getting qualified for a car.
Yeah.
The people who know they got 700, 800 credit scores, you ain't making no money off them because they know they have a high credit score. They know they've been disciplined in how they handle their finances. And I see that disparity. And most of us, we're just happy to qualify. That's the Black experience. We're just happy to qualify. We're not looking to dictate what terms are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where
what is that?
We got to get to where we dictate the terms. But it takes a while to get. We gotta restore discipline to the Black community. That's what has to be restored. Discipline. And when I say discipline, I ain't talking about beating folks. Now, every time Black people hear discipline, we go immediately to whipping somebody. That's not what discipline is. It's training. It's showing you how doing the right things can get you results. And that's another problem. Mm-hmm. People don't believe you because you haven't shown results. The world respects results. I tell people they only respect results. That's why the drug dealer that has the car. Why? Because there's some results. For that person, for that young man, that could be another millionaire who owns some businesses, real estate, all this kind of stuff. But who does he see in his community? Mm-hmm. Who's showing
Tyrone with the 22s?
Tyrone with the 22s. But if he understood that Greg over here, Greg has been an honest man, has an honest business, and he has not only the same or more than Tyrone does, but he got peace with it. He ain't got to worry about somebody come kicking in his door trying to take it. I guarantee you, that young man, he'll listen.
Yeah.
Change your mindset. Change your mindset.
Can I just take a minute to thank all you guys? This has been a really, really amazing conversation. I mean, really has. And I echo what Sean said. I am thankful that the ladies came through today. It made for a much better balanced conversation, I think.
Yes.
It was nice to have that balance to the conversation. So shout out to you, Mama Noise, for I give you credit. Mama Noise, you wouldn't made that happen.
I just couldn't. I had to get some ladies that could bring it.
You did that. You did that. Now you did that,
and they ain't scared. I'm just saying.
Where you say scared? Like we're gonna eat somebody?
Well, because you know what, we can be. We can bring the noise here. And everybody can't handle the noise.
See how she did that?
I see. She worked that thing.
She worked that.
No, but it wasn't that. It was when Lloyd said, "Laura, you know what you said was key." I tried not to say that because I was like, Lloyd, he's in the zone, but I was like, sir.
I don't even have to respond to that.
You know what's more amazing about that? It's amazing how when Black men and Black women get together, the air is contest rather than collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
It's competition rather than collaboration.
That's right.
Why is that? Why do you think that is? Because that's what society is geared us toward.
Guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life. You got to watch what you're letting get in.
Yeah.
It's more positive. It's more in that video you showed, Lloyd, is the perfect example of what Derek's talking about on that video you showed this morning. That video will get 10 times more play because of all the negativity that's in that video.
No question.
The positivity that you have here, where you got a group of people who can come together, have a conversation, come out with an outcome, and still can leave this thing tonight, and everybody still be shaking hands.
Yeah,
it's not entertaining to be looking for the outcome.
Right.
We're too busy wanting to be entertained.
Yeah. Even in church.
Amen.
And that didn't come from me. So, Mama Noise, I don't want it.
I get Kyrie, you get a pass.
Crickets chirping.
Because this is Thursday, and usually by then you've been in already.
I'm saving my ass for tomorrow.
Well, listen, we got a full weekend.
Smoke tomorrow.
I was gonna say we got a full weekend coming up. Just real quick, give everybody the church announcements because we didn't do that early. Tomorrow, me and Mama Noise and the rest of the noise makers will start the pre-birthday. So we that's tomorrow at our regularly scheduled time. And then you got to go to my page tomorrow because our guy Charlie Ward is going for the state championship tomorrow. And I'm gonna be scoring the game and sitting on the edge of my seat watching like a proud little brother, you know. So that's tomorrow at 4:30, 3:30 Central, or I guess that'd be 1:30 if you're on the Pacific time, like Lala and Patrice. And then did I forget the girls? I forgot the girls.
You did.
Sure did.
I apologize. Players mess up.
Oh my gosh. Your mouse is malfunctioning.
Yeah, my mouse is acting crazy. Okay, let me get my mouse together. Okay, here we go. Daddy and the girls. First of all, let me just say this is the first weekend where I really don't know what's going on. I'm just be honest with you. The girls got something planned on Saturday morning. I don't know what they're doing. They just said call it the birthday extravaganza. I said okay. My wife said tomorrow we doing Saturday we doing I Still Do. I don't know what we got going on. I'm just gonna show up. And then Saturday night we got Uncorked Wine. I don't know what we're doing at Saturday night. I'm just here.
We're not voting. I know that much on Saturday night.
We're not voting. What do you mean?
Not doing a vote. We done voting for a while.
Okay.
Oh, declaration.
Is this your response to last weekend?
That's my response to last weekend.
Last weekend got a little tense weekend. Y'all saw the show last weekend. It got a little tense. As we voted the two most beautiful black people in the world. Who was it? It was Angela Bassett and who was the first other person?
The British guy.
Idris.
You know what? I don't like that you knew that. Right?
He knew exactly who you was talking about.
I was like, I don't like that you knew that so well. It was like, oh, you talking about Idris?
I ain't gonna say his name.
Yeah, we talking about Idris.
I never heard a name like that in my life, but I that's only one person I know who has it.
It was a good discussion, though. It was a good discussion.
He's Nigerian, right? He's Nigerian, right?
No, he's from the UK.
No, I think it's British.
But his family is Nigerian. He's Nigerian.
Right.
I think he is.
Listen,
Oh, his family is?
If you're black in Britain, you're either Nigerian or Jamaican.
Right.
Probably.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. He's
No
Nigerian.
matter what, they still don't like you. So
Lloyd takes all Jamaican comments personally.
He's just. How about this? I don't know. He's just fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
there you have it.
So that new hashtag.
That seemed to be the sentiment on Saturday. But it was a lot closer than we thought. I thought it would, than you thought it would be though. So it was a good discussion. Go back and watch that. It was a good show. It was a really fun show.
I bet it's British.
Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone.
Oh, Sierra Leone. Okay, Sierra Leone. I knew it was African.
At least one of them was. You know what? One is Sierra Leone and the other parent is from Ghana.
Oh my God! The fact your Wi-Fi and your Wikipedia is that fast.
Yeah,
that was bad.
She had it in the history already. It was already saved.
Right, it wasn't no hard search. It wasn't no hard search.
Kind of fast.
Right.
Because I'm going to work with him one day.
Oh, okay.
Got to do your research. Got to do your research.
I don't like your desire to work with him the way you said it. I don't like that. That didn't feel like that was an acting thing. It felt like I need to call Mr. Moreau and we.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna ride for my brothers now. What we talking about right now? Okay.
It's all
don't do
research.
Professional. It's all professional. I admire my brother's work.
It just don't bring up a happy home. I'm talking to you now. Don't bring up a happy home.
He is very happy. He just happens to be fine.
Like I she changed the whole word.
She said the whole word.
Right.
Fine. Okay. All right. So listen, it all starts tomorrow. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just going to show up and be here. So, but it is the perfect anniversary weekend. So there you go. But thank you all for tuning in today. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Black excellence at its finest, I have to say. Black
excellence
at its finest. So, until tomorrow, we out.
Thank you for having us.